Thank you for giving me this opportunity and having me here. Thank you.
Hey, wonderful. Well, look, a few things. So just before we start, so whereabouts are you at the moment? Are you in the office? Are you
yes,
at the house? Okay,
office. And I have to put in another hour of work after this interview is over.
I think life as an IAS officer never ends. It seems like it's, you know, so it's
24/7 we are on the job. Yeah.
Hey, great. Well, look, after that short introduction, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run through a few questions. Got a bit about your background, but I think one of the things that really struck us was your determination, you know, and your willingness to go back and, you know, become part of this incredible institution that is the administrative service. So what was it about the IAS that made you so determined to get into it? You know, many others would have been happy, stayed at Deloitte, you know, you've done your 13 months, you would have stayed there for a long time, you know, made it to partner one day, but you decided, no, I want to go back and throw the dice and become a member of the IAS. Why were you so focused on joining the Indian Administrative Service?
So, Tom, the thing is, I have said this in multiple interviews, and I'm going to say this here again. Becoming an officer of the Indian Administrative Service has been my childhood dream. I remember as a 12th standard student, when I visited the district magistrate's office to get a residential certificate, I was moved from one table to another, from another table to another table for around 40 minutes. And I was just a class 12 student. I was hardly 15, 16 years old. And that day I was like so upset at that experience, or with that experience. I actually told that head clerk who did this to me that one day I'm going to become your district magistrate and come, and I'm going to be your boss. So, I mean, I categorically remember this childhood experience. So yes, it has been there as a childhood dream with me. I have nurtured that dream of mine practically beyond a point, like, you know, say after the 9th or 10th standard of my schooling, everything that I have done in my life so far has been centered around this dream of mine. I read Rhonda Byrne's The Secret when I was in college.
Okay.
And yeah, when I was in first year college, I read that. And since then, it was 2005 or 2006. Since then, till 2016, when I made it to the Indian Administrative Service, you know what? I used to carry, like, The Secret is all about positive reinforcement, right? Like, you keep telling yourself this is your dream and this is what you want to achieve. I had written on a piece of paper, Dr. Sweta Agarwal IAS, doctor because I want to do a PhD from one of the Ivy Leagues. That is another dream of mine. So Dr. Sweta Agarwal IAS, and I have carried it for 10 long years in my wallet. So that every time I opened my wallet, that would be the first thing I saw. So that is how I nurtured my dream. Now, to come to your question as to why just the IAS and why not, you know, stay satisfied with Deloitte, or I got into the Indian Revenue Service also, and I got into the Indian Police Service also. All these are excellent services to be in if you want to serve your nation and if you want to serve the society. But the thing about IAS that attracted me the most is the diversity. Okay. Every government scheme, whether it is the scheme of Government of India or whether it is the state government's scheme, every government scheme is implemented by an IAS officer. So there is immense diversity. You want to do something in the education space, you want to do something in the health space, you want to do something in the sanitation space. Like, every department is headed generally by an IAS officer. And at the district level also, which is like the administrative unit wherein you need to implement all these policies, there also most of the times the district magistrate is a member of the IAS. So you get this, you know, immense opportunity to implement all the government schemes, interact at the grassroots level. You know, the unique opportunity it gives me is to see the immediate response. I mean, Newton's third law, every action has a reaction. I have it is one of the rare jobs in this country which gives me that opportunity to see the immediate reaction or response of the audience crowd, of my audience. So if, for example, I am issuing a caste certificate to a student who has to, say, apply for a counseling session in an engineering college under a quota, I work throughout the night and issue him or her a caste certificate. Next day, he or she goes, gets his admission and messages me back, ki ma'am, because of you, I was able to get it. Now, this response is very rare in many other services. If I'm able to bring water to a village which has been starved of water for many, many years, oh God, the smile, I mean, the blessings which you get from the villagers. I remember one incident. We had launched a mega program in the government of the state government called 𝗦𝗲𝗍𝗀𝗀𝗀, basically government at doorsteps of the public. So I had targeted the third genders, the transgenders of my district, and I had held special camps in their areas and given them around a basket. I mean, I had ensured that they received some 10 to 12 services at their doorsteps. You know, the blessing which the leader of the transgender community gave me in their typical style, that is one of the fondest memories I have. This, no other service gives.
Hey, wow. Well, look, your passion is one infected, and also, you know, it's very, very clear. So it's obviously that you have found your calling in this space.
Yes.
It also feels to me, you know, that the lever, you know, the position you are able to be in today, the leverage you're able to get with that in terms of touching some of the 1.3 billion people within this incredible country is extremely large. So, wow, what a great,
I'm sorry
reason to be part of this.
Yeah, I'm just sorry to interrupt you. I'll give you one data point. Okay, just got reminded of it. I think 2 to 3 years back, an independent survey was done by some NGO, some big NGO. I'm forgetting the name. It was about like the various institutions which we have in the country, like the Supreme Court, the High Court, the Prime Minister's office, the President's office, the District Collector's post, Superintendent of Police post. So a survey was done as to how much trust the Indian people have in these institutions. Do you know that post of the District Collector or the District Magistrate was at number 4? After the Supreme Court, Prime Minister and President of India, the District Collector's post was at number 4 in terms of the trust and the faith people of India have in their district magistrates, that if you go there, your work will be done. And as I mentioned before, that most of the incumbents, I mean, occupants of the post of district magistrate are IAS officers. So there you go. I mean, that is the reason why I did not stop at IRS or IPS.
Amazing. So I think you've touched on some of these incredible achievements so far, you know, talking about the third gender community, we've been talking about implementing some of the policies, seeing what it's like on the ground. But have you got any, if we were going to ask for some highlights, which I know are a bit difficult, but if you had to list 2, maybe just the top 2, right, of your career so far, the top 2, you know, and you can always interpret that however you want, what would they be? You know, these big highlights.
Top 2, it's very difficult. But so see, I am going to complete 6 years in the service next month. So first 2 years are training, we train like on the job training as well as academy training. So effectively 4 years I've spent on the field. So if I have to name my top 2, my first would be when I was subdivisional magistrate or subdivisional officer of Rampurhat, and COVID struck for the first time. I mean, the first
so
wave.
You were in post.
Yes.
On your own, and then COVID hits. Okay.
Yes. I'm talking about like 24th March 2020 onwards, when lockdown was declared in the country all of a sudden. So that time, the role of administration, I mean, we were all in uncharted territory and we didn't know what to do. The entire world was struggling with this. And then there was this massive movement of migrant workers from one part of the country to the other. Basically, these people had gotten stuck because of the sudden lockdown and they were all returning home. They all wanted to return home. And special trains were running take these people from one part of the country to the other. And we at the field level had to manage the entire logistics, right from screening them to quarantining them wherever required, to making sure that they reach their homes safely. And at the same time, there were instances when people were hungry, they didn't have food. So so that whole exercise, I mean, Rampurhat is in Birbhum district. It is one of the 3 subdivisions of Birbhum district, the biggest subdivision of Birbhum district. So more than one third, 40% of Birbhum is Rampurhat. And it was catering to both Birbhum's as well as Murshidabad's population because of the location, the strategic location of Rampurhat railway station. So I, in that short span of time, must have facilitated the transportation of close to 15,000 people. And not just that, I specifically remember one incident. I received a call from my district magistrate that the special train is coming from Malda. It will reach my Rampurhat junction in 2 hours. There are 700 people on board with 3 full-term pregnant ladies. They haven't eaten in 36 hours. So I was given the task of giving them dry food, because obviously in 2 hours, I couldn't arrange for cooked food for 700 people in the lockdown. Dry food along with water. It was a task, but our entire team, district team, subdivision team, we did it. And when I took special care to hand over the food to those pregnant ladies. So when I did that, again, as I told you earlier, the smile on the face, the relief. I mean, I felt that day, okay, it has been worth it. So that is one highlight, that this whole logistics and transportation and everything. The second highlight would be my current posting. I am currently additional district magistrate of 𝗦𝗲𝗶𝗀𝗀𝘀 in Purba Medinapur district. Now, Purba Medinapur district is one of the biggest districts in the state. It has a population of more than 60 lakhs and 25 blocks. Now, 25 development blocks. And 𝗦𝗲𝗶𝗀𝗀𝗀𝘀 is like in our 3-tier system of Panchayati Raj, 𝗦𝗲𝗶𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 is the highest tier of local self-government at the rural level. So I am the second in command. The commander is, the head is obviously the district magistrate. I am the second in command, additional district magistrate. So the budget of my 𝗦𝗲𝗶𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 is close to 250 crores. So I am practically managing a company, a firm of 250 crores, firm with a revenue of 250 crores.
Incredible.
So, this is how I would describe my current posting to you, that I am managing a firm right now, or a company, whatever you may call it, just the budget of which is 250 crores. And I have to spend a lot on civil works. Our main focus is development of roads and civil infrastructure in the entire district. And I spend a lot on that. And not only that, basically streamlining the processes, monitoring them, having constant inspections to ensure that no financial impropriety is happening. And the government money that is being spent, crores and crores of money that is being spent in civil infrastructure development, that is happening in the right way. So I've been posted here for past 1 month, for 1 year. And in the past 1 year, practically every day I am on field. So I am, if you have to imagine my current role, imagine me with a measuring tape, measuring roads, the length and breadth and the depth of the roads, doing the calculations, ensuring that the measurement books are correct. And I'm very happy to tell you that in the past 1 year, I must have saved close to 2 crores of government money just by measuring the length, breadth, and the depth of the roads.
Wow.
So yeah, so that's another level of
great examples that we've got so far. I know this is something I ask slightly. Something I like to ask people, but and it's a bit offbeat, but if you were going to give a TED talk on something, because you are such a passionate person and you are such a sort of, you are incredibly committed and determined, is there anything that you would want to give a TED talk on? Have you thought about this ever?
No, I haven't. But
well,
now
have
that
you thought about what you would do it on? if
Okay.
you're asked?
Now that you've told me, I definitely want to give a TED talk on something related to my work only, of course. I would probably give a TED talk on the experiences I have had in the past 2-3 years on the field, because this kind of grassroots level experience and interaction that I'm having right now, this is rare. Trust me. I mean, when we are posted in the departments in our state capital, we lose connect with the grassroots, because then our focus shifts from policy implementation to policy making. So whatever time we have spent on the field learning from policy implementation, then we take all those learnings and we try to put them into policy making so that better policies are made. But that is a different type of work. But the current work that I'm doing, there's a lot of poverty around. Now, when you go and you meet with those people, when you interact with them and you see that this person is struggling to have even 2 square meals a day, and there you have to ensure that, he is getting all the government services for which he or she is eligible. And there is no intermediary in between. You have to set systems so that irrespective of who is there in your post, the systems will take care of themselves. And as Gandhiji said, the last man in the line or in the queue, your decisions, your actions should be able to positively impact the last man in the queue. These things, I mean, these experiences I'm having right now. So if I have to give a TED talk, I'll give on this only. I'll list down all my unique experiences I've had so far, and I'm going to tell the people that this is what we do. And with people's love and support, we'll be motivated more to do such good work.
Okay, interesting. And it feels like there's this really fascinating, there's this really powerful feedback loop between implementation of policy, going into optimization of policy, going back to implementation, going into optimization. That's a lovely feedback loop to look at as well. Great. When you started out, we talked a bit earlier about your experiencing and going around these many different stages, in when you were a kid, going through those different stages, when you were engaging with the civil service in India. One of your reasons for joining the IAS was to reduce that red tape and to make it easier, as you said earlier, for the common man to address administrative officials. Would you say you've been able to do that? Would you be for those? What strides do you think you have been able to take to achieve that ambition? And I realize you have many, many years, if not decades, ahead of you.
Yes. So it would be wrong to say that I have been completely able to do that, because as I said, I have spent just 4 years in the service effectively, if I keep aside my trainings 2 years. But yes, I have definitely tried. I have definitely tried in whatever role or capacity I was in to reduce this red tapeism. I have tried to put in systems. I was just talking about putting in systems. So one of the things which all of us should do, and we are reminded time and again to do is, so one thing, one major problem with our posts is that it becomes very person specific or leader specific, like whoever is the incumbent of the chair at that point of time, everything depends on his or her working style. Yeah. One major problem we all have is that we do not invest so much into formalizing such systems that irrespective of who is there on the chair, the system will take care of itself. So this is something that has been my constant endeavor, that if I am in a position where I find that there is a systemic flaw because of which red tapeism is increasing, and as I said, the last mile service delivery is not being ensured, I try to build those systems, to put in place those systems, because I have seen enough of bureaucracy by now to understand one thing, that if I don't do that, the moment I'm in a transferable job, I can get transferred anytime. The moment I get transferred, my successor might not be motivated enough to take up that cause. And more often than not, it happens that, the cause is like done and dusted the moment the officer gets transferred. So the only way to ensure that this does not happen is to, create systems. And this has been my constant effort. But it would be dishonest on my part to say that I have been, completely successful in the past 4 years to do. I have tried, yes, but completely successful, no. There have been times wherein I have become successful partially. There have been systems where I've been successfully able to implement them, but there have been times where I have failed miserably because of many reasons. So it has been a mixed bag there. It has been a mixed bag because there is one more thing. Howsoever pure your intention might be, howsoever, hard you work, howsoever sincere you might be, you are not the only one in the system. And you are not the only one who can, kind of bring in the reform. It has to be an all-round effort. So only those things succeed wherein practically everyone is on board. And many a times, in spite of your best efforts, you are not able to bring everyone on board, or in the process, you are transferred out. So it gets left half done. So I have seen 4 transfers in 7 months across the length and breadth of the state. So there have been things which like I started, but then as I said, 4 transfers in 7 months. So you do the math and see on an average for how many months I was there in each of these posts. Yeah, so it becomes difficult. So yes, to answer your question, I have tried 100% yes, but I have succeeded all the time, no.
Okay, well, I think luckily there are many, many decades to come. And also, if you had said, I think that thing around if you succeed every time, the ambition is not great enough. Is a quote I always come back to. I've just got 2 more questions. Just to sort of bring it back to those people who want to join the IAS, why do you think it is still such a coveted career for young people in India?
Many reasons. One reason why I wanted to be, like the first question you asked me. So that is one reason. Second reason is the power it brings with itself. It definitely brings a lot of responsibility, because with power comes responsibility. But then IAS is one of the most powerful services in the country. So it gives you immense power. And most importantly, it gives you power to empower. So people who want to empower the citizenry, people who want to work towards that, IAS is the forum. Because as I said, each and every government scheme, each and every government program, government is, IAS is an integral part of the government, whether it is central government or the state government. So if you want to empower, this is the place you want to be. If you want to serve your society, this is the place you want to be. If you, the perks also, this is the kind of altruistic reason. Yeah. But now let me get back to the bare minimum we all have our basic needs as per Maslow's hierarchy. So the pay is also decent. Yes, of course, it is not comparable to the big firms in the private sector, but given the kind of other benefits that we get, the pay is quite decent. The facilities and the perks that we get for being a part of this service cannot be converted
into money.
Monetized. I mean, if you monetize them, then the pay is excellent actually. So everything said, I feel it is a very good career option from all angles. You get to serve the society, you get to serve the country, and at the same time, you get a decent pay wherein you can live a comfortable life.
Okay, wonderful. Well, look, my last question. So imagine the moment we're at the beginning of the career, imagine we fast forward all of those decades and we're at your retirement party. And you're surrounded by the Prime Minister, the President, all these lovely people who are wishing you a happy retirement. what do you want them to say? What would be your greatest wish about what do they say about you at that retirement party?
This is a very difficult question. Give me a moment to think.
Yeah, please. You can spend 30 seconds just thinking about it.
Okay. Okay, I'll tell you exactly the first thought that came to my mind. One line, if I want them to say, is, Sweta, you have lived by example.
Good line.
And one thing that I would want to do for myself, or that is my test, whether I'm on the correct path or not, and which I would want for myself at the end of my, towards my retirement or at my retirement, is to be able to look at myself in the mirror, which I do every day because this is my personal test, to be able to look at myself at the age of 60 in the mirror and tell myself, Sweta, you have done everything that you could have done with integrity and honesty. So, yeah.
Perfect. Well, on that note, Sweta, I look forward to attending your retirement party in the many decades to come. But we shall leave it at that. But from my side, it's been lovely to have the opportunity to have this conversation with you. So a big thank you.